All right, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. How we doing? We doing okay? Here's the situation. What are people talking about? Hello, hello. You guys okay? You guys hear me? What's going on with this stream? Why is the stream not starting? Oh no, it started. We're live. We're live. We're live. All right. Here's the situation. So, I don't know if you guys can hear me okay. You probably can't. I was trying to troubleshoot this mic for a long time before the stream started. I think the conclusion is I need either a new mic. I haven't figured it out yet. It's either a new mic, a new there's a thing that's it's just the box that the mic gets plugged into that does the things, right? Either I need a new mic or I need a new box or I need a new cord. It's one of the things. That's why I'm going to be talking very, very close to the mic right now. Very, very close to the mic. All right? Nice shelf. This is the shelf. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. This shelf was, yeah. You should get the Bone Book the Shelf. Is there a shelf? Bone Book the Shelf. I don't even know what that means. Who's talking about the Reverie? Yeah, the Reverie was, contentious. I lost my watch? That's not why. That's not why I was late. The mic is just, it's going to have to be the way it is. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just going to have to be the way it is. Yeah, low audio. I can increase the audio a little bit, but this is... How about now? This is about where I can put it to. I can put it to here. It's gonna really peak really badly if I don't do some more. Why do I have a white mom wood plaque? That's not me. That's not me. That's not me, is it? It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. Everything. I did not. This was a bookshelf that was over on the other side of the wall that has now been moved over here to make room for a Christmas tree. And that's the way that things have happened. The Christmas tree does look really, really good, though. Mic is fine. All right. Hopefully it's fine now. This is as good as it's going to be for a moment. Zenith says they were so aggressive with you. The thing is, I'm like, why am I being portrayed as the instigator here? The instigator is people who are talking about. I think it's just okay. There's no need to go through it. There's no need to go through it. I think there's no need to go through it. It's all good. It's a Reverie. It's made to be for discussions. You're supposed to, like, heated arguments are at the end of the day the most entertaining point of it. I think that there was just a sharp divide between people who felt that the fake out deaths were a good criticism versus a bad criticism. And at the end of the day, if you feel strongly about, defending the story versus, like, maintaining that certain aspects of the story could be better, then there's going to be a divide, right? So that's just the way it goes sometimes. It's just the way it goes. All right. Anyway. Let me catch up on supers real quick. Hold on. Moving some shit over here. Okay. Aditio, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 25 months. Not watching the stream, but wanted to say you cooked at the Reverie. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the Pirate King podcast. It just came out. Kiara, thanks for the 5. Hey, Gorg, love your vids. Wasn't Law's Devil Fruit also considered a legendary Devil Fruit? I don't know if it was considered a legendary Devil Fruit. Did it have the word legendary attached to it? It might have. I'm not sure. It might have had the word legendary attached to it, in which case I forgot. I just knew that it's a fucking expensive and rare fruit. 5 billion berry bounty might be the most expensive fruit in existence as far as we've seen. But I don't know if it was if it was called legendary prior to the Nika fruit. Gunner455, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 17 months. Thoughts on Hunter x Hunter 4.6? I can finally get your Hunter x Hunter thoughts since I got caught up. Been avoiding audio like crazy since when it gets mentioned in streams. Cheers. All right, I'm going to hold up 2 fingers to talk about Hunter x Hunter briefly. All right, just to talk about Hunter x Hunter briefly. Just 2 fingers while I'm talking about Hunter x Hunter, okay? So these 2 fingers mean that I'm talking about Hunter x Hunter, right? I liked 4.6 quite a bit. I am interested to see where I think the stuff down below is finally heating up in a way that I find interesting. Makes sense because obviously the top level wasn't interesting right off the bat. It took some time for it to get interesting as well. But I do think that the bottom levels I've just not cared for quite as much. I think, yeah, to keep it very simple, I would just say that now I'm more interested in the bottom levels. I've never loved Chrollo as a character, but he seems fun. Like, the direction that he's going is fun. And, like, at the end of the day, baby, never mind. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, direction that Chrollo is going seems like it's going to take him upstairs. So I do want the merging of the bottom and top levels storylines to happen, hopefully soon. But yeah, I think that the top level is still where it's at for me. I just love the top level. I think the top level is really, really, everything going on right there is really cool. Hisoka, Phantom Troop, still, fun stuff at the end of the day. But it's just, I don't know, I feel like that's stuff that I loved about Hunter x Hunter back in the day. Like, if you told me back in the day, Hisoka was my favorite character, Phantom Troop were fun additions to the story and always cool to see whenever they popped up. But right now, I just feel like what's happening is so juicy that I don't care as much about Hisoka and the Phantom Troop. It would be kind of like trying to think of a One Piece equivalent. I don't know if there's a clear One Piece equivalent. I can't think of a clear One Piece equivalent, but just like, yeah, just the writing around what's going on in the top level is just far more interesting to me than the Phantom Troop Hisoka stuff. That's all I got to say right now. Fading Phase, thanks to 5. I know everyone at the Reverie who were justifying fake out debts had you fuming. I agree with your take, though. Can't have your cake and eat it, too. I mean, at the end of the day, it's fairly straightforward. I'm not saying anything that's, like, actually controversial. I did see, because I was curious afterwards, so I did see comments after the Reverie was over, and it seems like the vast majority of people, at least in the comment section, seem to agree that fake out debts are not good writing. So I guess, I don't know. Like, in the Reverie itself, it seems like some people felt strongly that fake out debts could be good writing, which is just sometimes when you're just arguing something that's just that out of I don't know. I think I should probably just not talk on this much. But I think it'd be one thing if I was critiquing something like I just don't think I was critiquing something that was that strange to critique. It's like a criticism that every One Piece fan is very, very aware of and most tend to acknowledge. So I think going to great lengths to defend something that just by any normal standard is poor writing, I guess it's just always going to lead to strong opinions from both sides. Jolly Joe Star, thanks for the 5. The point you said at the Reverie was better stated in other streams and videos, in my opinion. You made the Reverie funny as fuck, though. Well, I mean, it's harder when you've got to talk against, like, so many other people talking at the same time, and it's not just, like, a one-to-one, or, you're also conscious of, like, how long you're speaking, trying to speak over other people at points, trying to make sure you're not speaking over other people at certain points, etc. And, yeah, it's just easier when, you have a clean forum to be able to speak either one-to-one with somebody in a debate or obviously just speak to stream, etc. Or scripted, obviously, is the easiest. I think once Saul is in the story, I will drop a video discussing my, like, final thoughts on it, and then hopefully I can lay the matter to rest, at least on my end of things, when I get out everything I want to say out. Amber Yasser, thanks a lot. I think Hisoka is a better villain than... Oh, okay, hold on. We got it. We're putting up 2 fingers for Hunter x Hunter spoilers for a second. All right, ready? All right. I think Hisoka is a better villain than Meruem. Meruem had a goated character arc, but Hisoka is genuinely one of the most fun villains I've ever read. It depends, like... we could get into discussions of, like, villain, antagonist, etc. I agree that, like, by the end of the story, Meruem didn't really play a villain role, right? He took himself out of the story to actually resolve the conflict of the arc, in a sense, right? So in that sense, if you're saying, like, purely in terms of being a bad guy, right, is Hisoka a more fun bad guy than Meruem? I would agree, yes, because during Merum's tenure as a bad guy, before his character arc shifted him to a more morally interesting and nuanced character, during his tenure as just a bad guy, he was a very straight up, pretty one-dimensional bad guy, right? Like he's almost designed to be a fucking caricature of like a DBZ villain like Cell, because he's pretty much that one-dimensional early on, right? So Hisoka is a much more fun and unique bad guy than Meruem. What Meruem eventually becomes as a character and a much more nuanced individual and more morally gray and eventually shifting over almost entirely, that I find to be a much stronger character than Hisoka. Although I would say by the close of the Chimera arc, Hisoka was still my favorite character, I think, this far into Hunter x Hunter, where I feel like the writing is so different, the storytelling is so different, etc. For me at this point, like, it's strange to say because Hisoka was my favorite for so fucking long. Hisoka right now and the Phantom Troupe right now almost feel like a relic of Togashi's writing style and like the cool aspects of Hunter x Hunter from like a decade ago to me. Does that make sense? Like One Piece always still feels like One Piece, whatever arc I'm reading it. Like the tone, the vibe, the dialogue, etc. It still always feels like One Piece. The storytelling evolves to become grander, but it still feels like One Piece, right? Hunter x Hunter, there's drastic shifts in writing style, how Togashi thinks, his narrative structure, all of that. Like a lot changes from arc to arc. Hunter x Hunter right now is almost unrecognizable compared to what it was in its first arc. It's so fucking, like, you read a single chapter, it's so much more, it's so much, like, the writing is so much more dense, so much more meticulous, right? It's just on a totally different level, right? Hisoka will always be a fun villain, but I just feel like there's so much more going on and so much more intrigue, and like I feel like things hit another level with what Togashi's doing with the princes, that I no longer find like Hisoka Phantom Troop shenanigans to be that compelling for me right now, you know? Two fingers up one last time. At the end of the day, right now, they still just feel like shenanigans. That's how I can describe it. Like, I know it's going to lead to important stuff, but in general, just like the dynamic between them, the writing between them, etc. Like, what is going on with like the way the princes think, the way that I would much prefer reading some dialogue, some internal monologue from like a Hulkenberg or a Cedric right now, and delve into that than anything with Hisoka and Crollo and that shit. Okay. Kanal Dashawal, thanks a lot. Yo, Morj, I know this is stupid, but this Reverie was sucks. They were just talking about boobs for half the time, wasted by Saturday night. Do the Reverie again, and why? Alright, look, I'm not... I think I had friction with newer people. Everybody there that I already know, I've gotten along with for years and years now. And many of them I know in real life, etc. I did have friction with newer people. That's just what's going to happen when you merge newer people with people who are already like with like a lot of already pre-existing opinions and everything like that. At the end of the day, I think it's not worth rehashing over and over. We just had differences of opinion, and it probably got a little bit heated as it went on, but you know, this is the way it goes sometimes at the Reverie. Yokai Gota, thanks a lot for being a Yonko tier member for 17 months. It's okay, Morj. Not everyone wins a hockey clash. They actually convinced me that it's way better that Kuma survived. At least your mic was working. No, it is not way better that Kuma survived. That's actually okay, that's insane. It is fine that Kuma's alive though with his mind gone, as long as that's not reversed. If I'm being honest, I actually don't think that. Let me walk that back, because I actually don't think I was ever saying that Kuma losing his mind. I think I made pretty clear that Kuma losing his mind was fine for me, and I wasn't too bought into the Kuma situation as long as the effects were permanent. I think that was the thing that I kept hammering in, which is that whatever's happened, like the death of his mind, death of his soul, whatever, that needs to be permanent. You can't walk that back. It's been suggested that maybe that could get fixed or something with Lilith doing something or something like that, but as long as that's not changed, it's all good. Manny, thanks a lot for the 5. Would you say Hunter x Hunter is worth catching up to the manga? I feel like it probably not ended, so I stopped at the anime. I think Hunter x Hunter is definitely worth catching up to the manga. I think that it's good. I think the anime is better up to... how do I say? Yeah, I think the anime is a better way to experience Hunter x Hunter up to where the anime closes at. The good thing is that obviously the anime closes at a point that you could just stop the series right there and not move on any further and still be happy with where it left off. I think that with the manga we'll never know. I think it would. I think this arc is a very difficult arc to adapt to anime, simply because it is so dialogue and text heavy, like so intensely dialogue and text heavy. I think it's genuinely difficult to adapt to anime. So this current arc might be an arc that just straight up would always be better as a manga than an anime. I don't know. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. We will start the reaction to the first episode at 100. Matchy, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, I don't super much, but I just had to tell you, you absolutely shredded those poses at the Reverie. Good shit, man. Thank you, Matchy. I appreciate it. I don't want to call people, we're not going to call people bozos. I think I respect various different people's arguments that they made. I think that it got more heated than it needed to be, but I think that that's because the Reverie is just a forum where, like, sometimes you need to, like, it's a large group, right? So you're not just getting to talk to somebody else one-on-one. And so there can be some more, like, desire to like, on both ends, like on my end as well, obviously, like, to talk over or yell or whatever, basically. And then that can lead to things being misconstrued on both ends, and then that can lead to more conflict and tension, right? So I think everybody at the end of the day was pretty articulate with what they were saying. Maybe we were talking past each other at certain points, and, you know, shit like that happens. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 5. The problem with that segment was that everyone was misconstruing their arguments. If it was treated like a debate, it would have gone much smoother. And I think that's ultimately the problem with the Reverie, which is that it's not a real debate. It's just a everybody yell type forum. So you can't... it's harder to keep track of, like, okay, need to respond to this, need to respond to this, need to respond to this, need to respond to this. I think that was one of the things that I was just feeling the most, which is, like, I said this, but then people's responses are, like, totally ignoring what I said or not actually countering the things that I said. And then I felt like I made the effort that anytime that I was making a response, I would acknowledge what the other person said first, and then try to explain why what I'm saying is different, or why what I'm saying is something else that needs to be addressed, irrespective of the point that is being made there, if that makes sense. So I think that was one of the things I felt, which was that there was a lack of acknowledgement of what I was saying, and instead it would just be as though somebody's opening up with, like, well, no, I like it because XYZ, blah, 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 blah. I think it's good because, like, this theme, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, and then I feel like I would respond back with, like, I understand that this theme or this idea, et cetera, but this problem still exists because irrespective of those things, this, and this is true in terms of storytelling. But then that wouldn't be acknowledged in other people's responses. I think that was the thing that I felt. I haven't really gone back to watch, so I don't really know if that's actually the case, because, you know, you're always going to be skewed to your own perspective in the moment. So that was what I felt. I think let's also just move past talking about the Reverie stuff at this point, because we can beat that horse to death, but what happened, and it is what it is. But I appreciate the support as always. Oh, Brago's here offering some support. I appreciate that. Man. Where were you, Brago? I agree with you, Brago. I think that segment should have been me and Melon, and everyone else should have just, you know, quieted down for a moment. But I felt like, here's what I personally feel like happened. I felt as though I was hung out to dry a little bit because I know a lot of people in that chat. Like, I know people in the community. I know a lot of people in that same call agreed with me and agreed that fake out deaths are bad, right? But then the discussion started going, and I think, you know, initially it was just me and Melon. And then a lot of other people started jumping in, and also people who I'm not as familiar with started jumping in and also supporting the fake out death stuff. And then it sort of turns into, like, I'm waiting my turn, because you don't want to just turn it into, like, well, it's me like I don't want to be talking over everybody, and I know that people already got upset that they felt that was the way it was going. So I'm trying not to do that, but then at the same time, it's like this person's getting a turn, this person, etc. And so I'm kind of waiting my turn to get to have my response back. And at the same time, I'm like, well, this would be cool if some other people in this call, who I know also dislike fake out deaths, would also chime in. I did appreciate when Jay jumped in the call because he was like airdropped in. So he got a platform to speak right off the bat. So I did appreciate Jay. I did appreciate Jay jumping in and basically saying some stuff right off the bat. I was like, all right, so this feels more like, like a general forum discussion. But then it kind of shifted back to basically everybody making their points and me having to sit and wait and be like, all right, well, I need to get my shit off. And now I've got to respond to fucking this person, this person, this person, this person. When really the initial point of contention was really just between me and Melody initially. And I think it would have been more civil if, like, we'd both just been able to speak and have turns, but it didn't go that way. It is what it is. It's just a reverie. Stuff like that happens. It's not a big deal. All right. It's what it is. The Reverie's not like a one-to-one debate forum. It's, Akash Panda, thanks a lot. Just want to clarify, I checked and the Opiapi fruit is called the Ultimate Devil Fruit, not a Legendary Devil Fruit. Okay, so it is referenced as special in some way. I would say that I think there's been really been 4, arguably 5 fruits that have been given some sort of special status, okay? I would say that the only fruits that have been given some sort of special status in the One Piece world are Yami Yami no Mi. And Blackbeard's a history nerd, right? So when Blackbeard says that the Yami Yami no Mi is like a special-ass fruit, it's a special-ass fruit. And he's basically saying that, like, it's like a, it's like, what do you say? It's I forget what the exact quote was, but like it's the strongest Logia or something like that, or the strongest fruit. So Blackbeard seems to believe that's the case. So that's one. When they went to Skypiea, I think it was mentioned that like throughout all devil fruits, the Gorogoro no Mi is known as like the god fruit or something, or the most powerful, most godlike fruit or something. I don't remember if that's an exact quote. Then the Gorogoro no Mi is known as like that fruit that has the power to destroy the world. Then the Ope Ope no Mi, I suppose, was called the ultimate devil fruit, from what you're saying. And then finally, the Nika Nika no Mi was known as like this like a legendary devil fruit, a legendary fruit or whatever. And then I think the sun god fruit is the final fruit that's been referred to as a legendary fruit. So that's about 5 to 6, depending on how tight you want to say certain things are, Yeah, Kash is saying Goro Goro, Gura Gura, Yami Yami, Ope Ope, and Nika. Yeah, and now finally the 6th fruit might be whatever this is. Doron Rust 2VS says, just do a stream with you and Melody over that subject. I think that would be on her to invite me if she wants to reopen that, because I, for the most part, got off what I wanted to say, and I think that I was correct in the end. So if anybody wants to reopen that subject with me, then, like, I think I got my points across mostly by the end, and I think that I was basically, if you just based it on the strength of the arguments, I think I was correct in the end. So if somebody wants to reopen that discussion with me, I'd be happy to, in a more civil, like, 1v1 thing, but there's nothing else for me to really discuss there, because at the end of the day, I think I got off what mostly what needed to be gotten off. Morj, make the Reverie great again. No, we're not getting into that sort of language here. We're not going down that route. No, we're not. No. Let's watch our language here. JWP, thanks for the 10. That argument was hilarious. I don't remember who it was, but someone said that Saul coming back is fine because we're supposed to keep moving forward and not use new info to contextualize old stuff. I mean, I just don't think the arguments in favor were very strong. So there's not really much to really beat a dead horse over there. We could stop it. Like, let's no more talking about the Reverie, because we're just gonna have a different opinions there. Rocket Ace says, I think for moments like that, everyone else except the host should mute and give both panels 5 minutes to debate. I mean, stuff like that would be good. The thing is that, like, it's a tough call, right? Because like I would agree with that in the moment, right? Because I'm there in the moment, and I would like to just be able to discuss with this one person, and then I'm not worried about like other people talking over or having to get my turn and everything. But at the same time, there's other people in the call that likely have their own thoughts on the subject, and they feel like they would be able to add a lot to the debate because everybody thinks like nobody's opening their mouth thinking that they don't have in a call that big with like when topics get kind of heated, nobody's really opening their mouth and like trying to take the floor without also feeling like they have something really, really significant to say. And so there's not really a good way. Like I think there'd be a lot of situations where, two people start arguing a little bit, and then maybe me or maybe you, Braga, or somebody I'm like, I have a lot I want to say on this subject that's kind of being missed or something, and I want to jump in. But then the hosts have already declared that it's a two-man situation, so it's just like, fuck. Like, Braga, imagine if people were arguing, like, imagine if King and, like, I don't know, who? Let's say King and Arthur started debating, like, Yonko Admirals or something like that, and then the hosts were just like, okay, let's just let Arthur and King talk, and everybody else is muted, and then, Braga, you're just sitting there in your chair just, like, fuming as the Admirals get decimated, and you're like, if I was in there, like, put me in, like, tag me in. Like, if I was in there, I'd have some shit to contribute. So everyone always feels like if everybody always feels like they have something important to say when they're chiming in to talk in the Reverie. So I think we've all been in a situation where, like, maybe two people are discussing something, and then you feel like a point's being missed, so then you want to get in and say something, and then it turns out that the point that you had to bring up was good and added some new things to jump off of that weren't being discussed previously. So I think it's just a really hard call for the host to make. Maybe if it goes like really extensive and it's just two people talking for a bit, then maybe the host can mute and just be like, okay, clearly these two want to lead the discussion here. But I think it's just a hard call to make. I think the bigger thing, in my opinion, is just hosts recognizing who is, recognizing that, like, it's important for X person or X person or X person to get a turn. And make sure that, I think that was the only thing. I think that I felt like I had to fight a little bit to make sure that I got my little window for counter argument, like in terms of like speaking up repeatedly. Whereas I would have appreciated if volume one was just like, okay, after this, and this person goes, then Morj can go next to respond. I think that's the only thing I would have really appreciated at the end of it. Kiara, thanks for the 10. Just want to let you know you're probably the best One Piece analysis ever. You made me start rereading One Piece. Hope you're all right. Thank you, Kiara. I really, really appreciate it. And I am all good. Thank you very much. Dick so small I piss on my balls. Thanks for the 5. I'd love to discuss with you the notion that what Oda is doing with fake outs is instead very transgressive. I'm not getting into fake out deaths here anymore. Let me get out a video once the Saul situation plays out again, and then I think once we, I think let me just get out a full video on the Saul situation. That helps me organize all my thoughts as well, and then it's just out there, and then people can respond to that rather than just, me talking about it on stream a bunch, Or at least after having watched that. Also, let's get the stream likes to 100, because I'll be doing the reaction once we hit that. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 5. BDA hosted Hood Reveries, Jay hosted Gender Reveries, Morj hosting Debating Reverie. I mean, in theory, all Reveries are debate Reveries. Jay did host a debate Reverie, in a sense, in the Agenda Reverie. But I also don't want to host a Reverie. Hosting a Reverie, you guys don't know, it's a fucking pain in the ass. It's a fucking pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. It's fun at the end of it, and you feel like accomplished, I guess, in having done it. But it is a pain in the ass to get people to join in, schedule, yada yada, like confirm. Like for example, like me, I'm a good example. I did not confirm that I'd be doing the Reverie for a long. I didn't confirm I'd be doing the Reverie for a long ass time. I waited and waited till the Saturday of. I think I did a collab with Jay earlier that week, and then he kind of said some things that made me want to go join the Reverie just to see for a little bit. And then Jay was fucking late, and I was on time. Yeah, but like that's an example. Like a lot of YouTubers, they just don't even respond in the group chats now. I'm an example of one of them. You don't know who's coming exactly. It's a pain in the ass to organize everybody, get everybody on board. Brago's saying people do not want to speak up, and if they jumped in against Melon, it would look like bullying a bit. That's why nobody else should have jumped in. No, it's a fucking reverie. You just talk. There's no bullying. You just talk. I get what you're saying though. Braga says, I think they felt like you could take it. Not gonna lie, it was frustrating a bit to watch, but I get it. You're an evil part. It's an earned right. Yeah. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Reverie is once a year. And yeah, Braga, I agree. I don't think Melon was the issue. This isn't really about her, but everyone else. I think once it became like a lot of voices coming in, I was thinking two things. I was just like, I would love to get the chance to respond to each person bit by bit. That's it. And then two, I'm just like, I know the rest of you in this call. I know the people who are in this fucking call. People who are normally very vocal about certain things are just fucking being quiet right now. I'm just looking at them like, you all, I don't even know who some of these US people are. Like, what are we doing here? Like, does anybody else want to chime in and say something? I know you up there don't like fucking fake out debts. I know you got a problem with it. Jay's appreciated, man. Jay's appreciated. Anyway. Yeah, Reverie once a year is good. I think that's about it. But the problem is, like, everybody still wants to do these group calls bit by bit. Like, you know, just because the actual Reverie official... Like, I don't even know what the official Reverie is anymore. Because Jay did the Agenda Reverie, and that had a very large cast of people as well, right? Like, what is the official Reverie at this point? Dick's a small piss on the walls. Thanks for the 2. Not right this minute. We can talk on Twitter/Discord. I'm probably not going to get into extended argument on Twitter or Discord over this, man. Let me get the video off, and then, you know, if you want to say some stuff after... One Piece Lane, thanks a lot. Morj, you hit a step back there, double teamed at the Reverie. Good shit, lol. I don't know, Reverie is different with all these new people. Been watching hoops. I have a little bit. I've been tuning in with to basketball more this season than last season, just because I feel like this is the best setup NBA season in the last several years, because a few things have happened, right? I would say this is the first season that all of the previous players of, I guess, the previous stars of the old era, the NBA is very star-centric, right? Like, the Cleveland Cavaliers doing well, nobody gives a shit, you know? The players are going to give a shit about are, like, LeBron, Steph, KD, you know? Luka, Giannis, I get, like, those type of players, right? Those are the players you're going to give a shit about. This is the first season where I feel like, for the most part, everyone is healthy, right? For the most part, everyone is healthy. And all of the great players of the past, we got the revelation from the Olympics that they are still, in fact, great players. LeBron, Steph, and KD are still, in my opinion, if you're asking just to win the playoffs, like maybe not over the course of 82 games, but if you're going to win the playoffs or something like that, I think LeBron, Steph, and KD are still the best 3 United States players alive, right? So we got confirmation from the Olympics that they're still them. And then we're letting the season play out, and things have turned around. The Suns are amazing. The Warriors are amazing. The Lakers have potential to be amazing, and that's kind of the most fun situation when the Lakers, it's like, are they going to be good again this year? Are they going to be good against this year? So we've got the great players of the past great again, right? And then all of the newer, like, you've got a great villain set up with the Celtics. Most people do not like the Celtics. Sorry, Celtics fans, if you're a Celtics fan. And then teams that are on the come-up that people were watching out for already. The Thunder, you know, Luka and the Mavs broke out last season. They're having some trouble here, but in theory are still going to perform well, etc. Like, the newer teams that have been set up, they are still in contention and competing or whatever. Jokic and the Nuggets, they're still a force, right? It feels like, I guess the Timberwolves fell off a little bit, but, you know, like with a few tweaks or whatever, they're still there, right? So it's the first NBA season where it feels as though you can never have everything going at once, right? Like the Sixers and Embiid and stuff suck. I don't like Embiid in general, but I would still like to see him in contention. And the Bucks suck right now. But it's still the closest season we've had in a long time to, like, as many exciting teams and star players all being in good spots and good situations, right? I personally thought that KD had fallen off. I thought that Steph had fallen off. As it turns out that, you know, their teams just weren't clicking last couple of years, right? That's just the way it is sometimes. So just some tweaks, and it turned, like, the Olympics reestablished that they are still them. They just weren't in good situations. this year we still got LeBron, Steph, KD, all playing really well, all in really great situations relative to last year. And then you've still got the Nuggets, you still got the Celtics, you still got the Thunder coming up. You've got teams that are up and coming, right? It's just a really, really exciting. Like, I feel like this is the most layered set of generations I've seen in the NBA in terms of competing. Like the old school, the new school, the up and coming. Like all three generations you're kind of seeing. Like the Nuggets and Celtics, those are the newer dominant teams, right? LeBron's Lakers, Warriors, whatever, the KD's team, etc. That's the old school, right? But they're still in contention. And then the newer teams you're hoping kind of make a breakthrough, like the Mavs, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, maybe like maybe the Knicks. Like there's hope that they could do it this year. So it's a very, very exciting NBA season. Very exciting. Gobble D Snuts, thanks for being a Park King tier member for a month. Hey Morj, you know my that's funny, man. That's funny. Thanks for being a Park King tier member though. Also, let's get the 3 bucks up to 100 real quick. JWP, thanks for the 5. I'm not gonna lie, I don't see how anybody other than Jokic wins the MVP lol. Also, have you seen any of the remake yet, like clips, or is this blind? I've seen random clips on Twitter, like I saw Luffy dodging the pacifista lasers. My editor also says that he watched how many episodes of the remake are right now? My editor says that he watched some of the remake, and he said that he thought that it was like 3 episodes in 1 episode or something. Braga saying KD will never win another MVP, unfortunately. I personally feel like, I don't know, like, so Jokic winning the MVP, Jokic winning the MVP, KD winning the MVP. Jokic is, if I were to say my favorite players in the NBA right now, LeBron's always going to be my favorite, Steph my second favorite, right? Jokic is probably my favorite of the newer school, like the newer generation. And then in terms of up-and-comers, I'm actually a big Zion fan. And I'm fucking bummed as fuck that he never seems to actually put it together. Wemby, Luka, Anthony Edwards. Those, like, I'm in a place where, like, I don't need to see my, like, players like Jokic or LeBron or Steph win more MVPs or KD. I would love to see some of the newer guys win an MVP, as long as it's not Jason Tatum. I would be okay with KD winning MVP just because I feel like the dude is so... like, Kevin Durant is... out of all the people that I've watched play basketball in my time being an NBA fan, Kevin Durant is, like, 4th best, I would say. I feel like he's, like, prime KD at his best. I think he's, like, top 4 for me that I've seen play basketball. I feel like his legacy is going to be a complicated one. He's the best scorer, like, pure ISO, like, just give him the ball and score. He's the best scorer that I have seen. I think his resume having another MVP, I think it would be fitting. I think it would help reflect the type of player, the caliber of player that he is. So I think that I'd be cool with that. Jokic should get a 4th MVP in the sense that, like, Jokic just has been the best player in the league for I don't know how many years now. He just has been. He like quietly was already the best player in the league probably before 2023, but then 2023 he proved it, right? And he's still the best player right now. He's been the best player for a while. I just don't know about him getting another MVP because, like, I don't know if the Nuggets are ever going to win another fucking championship. And I think it's going to look like it's going to be a really weird resume to see this dude have 4 MVPs and only 1 title. And it's not even his fault because I feel like players are just, like, I don't think that Nuggets team is very good. And I don't think they've been very good. I think Jokic really just makes a lot of players look really, really good, right? I don't think it's magic that Westbrook is just playing better now that he's playing with Jokic, right? I don't think it's magic that Jamal Murray's ass anytime he's put in any situation without Jokic, but then magically, like, an amazing player every time he's with Jokic, you know? So personally, I feel like Jokic is a player, like, I think he suffers from the LeBron thing in terms of, like, he's so good that his team's always going to do well despite his team not being good. But because, I don't know, it's a foreign thing or, like, a different culture thing, or he's just, like, a quieter dude or whatever, I don't think he's ever going to make the pushes or the moves to, like, force himself out of the Nuggets to some other team. So I think he could be, like, one of those first players in NBA history where he just, like, it will almost feel like secondhand embarrassment for me to see him win a 4th MVP, and then like people, I just know the narratives. People will just be talking about the narratives about like if Jokic wins a 4th MVP, then there's gonna be so much debate and critique, etc. It's almost gonna be worse for his resume if he wins a 4th MVP, because people are gonna be like, he can't even like win another title, blah blah blah. Like it's gonna draw a lot of criticism. It like another MVP is not, at this point in his career, is not a blessing. It would be a curse. You know, if you all remember, after he won his 3rd MVP last year, and it seemed like they were gonna lose to the Timberwolves, like in a sweep. There was a lot of criticism happening then, and then he had to kind of quiet it down by winning like 3 games in a row or something, and then everybody was like, okay, never mind, he's the MVP. He's the MVP. Let's all lay off, right? But like that shit happens, you know? Oof says Braun had 4 MVPs and 1 title at one point. Yeah, but I feel like that was at a point where it seemed as though like LeBron was still at that point, LeBron would still have been on the Heat, right? And just the way that Heat was constructed and the competition at the time, it was just like, and LeBron's age at the time, it was just like, LeBron is going to win another title, right? Like, he's still on, like, the Miami Heat, right? He's going to win another title, right? Either that year or the following year or something, right? Jokic is on a team, and I don't see him, like, I don't see the Nuggets as, like, favorites to win. Like they're kind of stuck in their situation a little bit, from my understanding of contracts, for some time now, right? So Jokic could be like, it's very different if LeBron's sitting on 4 with 1 title, because it's like at that point in time, he's in the dance for winning the championship, like for the next foreseeable future, right? It's probably like he's going to get another 1 or 2 or something, right? It was expected he should have won the previous one in 2011, right? With Jokic and the Nuggets, it's like, okay, how are they going to win this year? And if they, like, how would they win the year out? Like, there's no real path unless Jokic just plays above and beyond, right? And then beyond that, it's just like, I doubt that he's going to try and make the moves that LeBron would to try and get himself into a better situation to make sure he wins another title before the end of his career. So I don't know. All right, everybody. All right. Braga's saying that the Nuggets have a very, very good team. Look, like a very, very good team is... I don't think that Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. are real 2s or 3s. I think every other actual superstar, I think that Jamal Murray is, like, we've called him a streaky player in the past, like a streaky player. At a certain point, you're not just a streaky player. You just hit a hot streak. You happen to hit a hot streak at a couple good points that let you get to the championship, right? He is literally never good without Jokic. I think that Jokic has the worst 2 and 3, like second and third guy, out of any other of the... No, the Warriors are kind of not in a good spot either like that. But I don't consider the Warriors necessarily right now to be real contenders yet either. But yeah, it's not like Jokic, he doesn't have like a Dame Lillard or like a Jaylen Brown, right? He doesn't have there's not, like, he doesn't have an AD, he doesn't have a Kyrie. There's just like a gap, you know? Like, you're watching the Nuggets play the Mavs. I was watching the Nuggets play the Mavs yesterday, and it's like, what's the lag? Oh, fuck. All right. What's the lag? Can you guys hear me? Can people hear me okay? Can people hear me all right now? Jolly D. Joseph says, I realize when Morj goes on a rant, he doesn't look at chat. I can't be looking at chat, because then that'll, like, affect my confidence in my takes. I need to just get off what I believe and then find out what people have to say about it afterwards. It's just cutting a lot? All right. Let me see what I can do. I don't actually know if I can do anything. I said, yeah, it's probably okay. Captain Face, thanks for the 10. Thank you for the in-depth ST answer on Parking Podcast. Oh, yeah, of course, storytelling answer. Parking Podcast, for those of you who don't know, it's the podcast that I do once a month for Parking members, where I just go over any questions that you guys have submitted in great detail on an hour and a half long podcast. Could a main character believe a lie but be a flat character for a while before beginning to change? Yes. Would the MC be unlikable/boring? Other side characters grow first. I think that, okay, you're throwing in several things right there. You're throwing in several things right there, right? Um, I think that I think that a story could an MC believe a lie? I like that's a I'm just gonna set that aside because I don't really know how to address that because that's gonna be just in the context of the story. Does that make the story more or less interesting? But I definitely think that a MC being a flat character for a long time before beginning to change is is a thing. Also, I believe that it's what you think of as static versus dynamic, right? Flat versus round, static versus dynamic. So a main character could be static for a long period of time before beginning to change. Would the MC be unlikable / boring? Other side characters grow first. So I think that there's several series that I've followed and grown to love where I did not enjoy the main character at first, and I felt that they were kind of, you know, I didn't like Hunter x Hunter for a long time, or I didn't like Gone in Hunter x Hunter for a long time, but I enjoyed the series from early on because I enjoyed the side characters, right? I didn't like Denji in Chainsaw Man for a long time, for most of part 1, for a lot of part 1. And in part 2, he somehow shifted to be maybe my favorite character, at least one of my favorites. So I totally think that's doable. And sometimes making them take a long time to change is very powerful because Denji did take a long time to actually begin to change. And a lot of people talk about Gon's direction being very jarring and surprising precisely because they viewed him in a certain light early on for so long. Wait, you guys can't hear? Hello. Phantom Great Fire says, Morj just promised not to get a haircut until the Wano video releases. We're in here for the long haul here. Listen, Wait, can you guys actually not hear me? Sound is not working. What the fuck? What is going on? We can hear? Okay, I guess we're good. Hair-wise, here's the problem. I have frizzy hair, but I want long hair. But long hair doesn't work because at a certain point, it gets to, this is my understanding, right? I can't grow my hair long because it's too curly, so it gets frizzy. So I've been doing things to try and get rid of the curls, but they don't work that well. So then instead I get hair that looks like this. But I'm gonna keep trying. Fuck. But I'm gonna keep trying. For a little bit. Mohammed Sadeghi, thanks for the 2. How much did you buy your Van de Graaff generator? I don't know what that means. Alright, here's the problem. I don't know how to make stream work faster. Also, we're supposed to have a call-in shortly. We're supposed to have a call-in pretty shortly. And I don't know if the call-in's going to work with the current situation. I have some video playing or something in the background. Anything playing here? Yeah, I don't know. My hair's looking good right now? It looks cool curled to the side like that? Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. Captain Face says, hey, please answer my other super chat, Morj. I'm sorry, man. Let me see. To explain my MC must learn that they can't be MC in everyone else's stories. They can't do whatever they want. They feel they are just right, smart, or control freak. Oh! So if the main character is straight up, like, not likable from the beginning. Dude, that's tough. I mean, you gotta challenge there. Man. Because, when the main character is just straight up not likable at the beginning, I mean, stories I'm thinking of like that are like Boruto or some shit. And specifically the traits that you just described, those are not those aren't like endearingly likable traits. Those are like annoyingly unlikable traits. So that sort of shit can work in stories that are like where people understand that they're not reading, like it's not going to work in like a fucking shonen manga type story, okay? If you have a aggressively unlikable character who has to learn kind of their character flaws, that's shit that can work in something like Gone with the Wind or Catcher in the Rye or something like that, right? Well, Catcher in the Rye doesn't really have a change there, but like stories that are clearly not meant to, like stories that are meant to be more so character studies in a sense, where like people are coming in with the mentality that like, okay, the character doesn't like Maybe I'm not supposed to be liking this main character. Maybe it's supposed to be a breakdown of like who this character is, right? And that's just not gonna work if you're trying to write a story where it's like a traditional like some sort of fantasy thing with like a good guy trying to defeat bad guys and stuff like that. Like, it's not gonna work in action, fantasy, that sort of context. The readers have to be coming in understanding that this is like a character study, right? Because in that case, there's a ton of stories that work, you know, with the main character having very unlikable traits that you know, over time breaks them down, or they have to realize things, right? Like a raging bull or something like that, right? But those are not, I don't know if those are the types of stories that you're thinking of. I can't imagine like a normal like action adventure fantasy type story working with something like that personally. So it depends on the genre. Depends on the genre, man. Everyone's invested in my hair. You guys are too invested in the hair. Grow a pompadour, Morj? No. I don't know how. Bubble Bass says just say Deku. No, Deku's likable, just not to some people. I actually like the character type that Deku is, but I never like it as the main character. Like, I like those type of little squirrely bitch type characters that have to grow or whatever, but not ever as the MC. That's just not my preference. Amar Yasser says, if you'd write any manga idea for a weekly Shonen Jump, what would it be? I don't want to share. I don't want to share because I do want to write stories like that at some point, and I do have a lot of ideas. For me, like, to actually, I have ideas for things that I'd want to do. It depends on the window, right? So I have story concepts for what I want to do if I just had enough money to make like an indie film or something. But then I have stories that I'd also like to do if I could do like a dream vision scenario where like I could get a long running anime manga type thing going, like a, you know, like a, maybe not One Piece length, but like, you know, few hundred chapters or something like that, which is still really crazy, but those things exist as well. So it just depends the type of platform I would get, but I have different story ideas depending on what that is. Van de Graaff is what I guess you use for your hair. Thanks, Mavahid Sadeghi. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate it. Okay, so we do have a call-in coming right now. Can everybody tell me how the stream lag is going right now? Because we do have a call-in. We do have a call-in that I'm gonna have to do in a second. And if we do that call-in and it doesn't work well, then it could crash the whole stream. So how is it for you guys at this moment in time? Is everything working okay? Everything's good? How's the stream quality? I'm a little bit worried about audio for this, but okay, it's perfect. It's gotten better. All right. This is good. This is good. All right, I'm just gonna open up. Let me open up Zoom. Here we go. Here we go, y'all. We're gonna do the call in, and then we're gonna react to the episode. That's the plan. That's the plan, y'all. All right. Bossamon Withowi, thanks for the 5. Hey, taking a break from studying for my job. If you already watched, I feel like the episodes watch like an extended previous episode recap. Nice beard. Thank you. Everything's gonna... I'm tossing everything soon, by the way. The mustache, beard, all of that's gone. The current arc, which people are calling me being homeless, it began like this, all right? It began when I started to commit to my hair being long, all right? Started to commit to my hair being long. My hair is not meant to be very long hair because it gets too curly, right? So that's issue number 1. Then, come Halloween time, my girlfriend wanted us to dress up as the Addams Family parents. So I was going to be Gomez Addams. So I had my long scraggly hair, and then I also drew a mustache. Okay? I also grew a mustache. And then, oh, our guest is here. And then I kind of stuck with the mustache for some time. Till eventually, and then I didn't shave the mustache, so now I've got like a big mustache, but a very light beard, and very scraggly hair. And that's how we've reached the point that we've reached today, which is why I look like this. So all of this can be undone. It just takes a haircut and a shave. All right? But I want to... Sorry, Rod. Give me 1 second, man. I just got to get off this last point. All this takes is a haircut and a shave. But I'm going to push this and stretch it as far as we can get it. All right? Okay. All right. All right, man. Good to see you. Sorry, just getting off some points. Here, 1 second. Thanks for joining. Can I test your audio real quick?
Yeah, test one, test two.
All right, let's see how it compares to me. Really, everyone's gonna tell me that it sounds bad, but we'll just try and get the closest that it can get. Can you say something again?
Yeah, test one, test two.
All right. All right, it seems good to me. Let me see if they complain. Should be okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, everybody. How's Ryan's audio? How's Ryan's audio? And for those of you who don't know, Ryan, if you want to shout yourself out again.
Yeah, my name is Ryan. I run the channel Bink's Tavern. So I started a video out with cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to you too, man. This is just water. Don't know what's in your cup, but it can be whatever.
Mine is a apple cider Moscow Mule.
Oh shit, man, that sounds good. I have a long story about my relationship with the drink Moscow Mule, but I don't want to get into that right now. It's a dumb story. There was an event. It doesn't matter. All right, man. So first of all, let's if you're good with it, I can drop a quick link to your channel because yeah, you've been on the come up for a little bit. And Ryan is a returning guest to the streams. I think you were the first, actually literally the first person to be brave enough to join on the stream from the bundle packages. So big shouts to you, man.
I mean, I have plans. I got those pictures in the background. They're gonna become my decoration. They're just every one of those pictures have been dope.
They look good, man. Thanks.
I'm stoked for the LBAF, or not? The LBAF one, the duel.
Dude, the LBAF one is my. I think that I actually really like the Skypea one. I think that's my favorite of the art pieces. But LBAF, he went all out. He went all out for the LBAF one. So I appreciate you showing off the art pieces in the background. For those of you who want to get those, they're currently sold out, but you could always grab the LBAF Skypea ones, which I'll be linking after this. And for those of you who don't know, in general, if you're interested in joining the streams, if you get the highest level of the bundle, the poster bundles, you can always join the streams anytime you like over the course of a month. So just for the future. But how you been, man? I also have spoken to Ryan in the private group happy hour that we did, so we actually got to talk quite a bit about a lot of different LBAF theories, and he brought a few interesting things up. So what do you got? You got some stuff you want to share for chat today?
I don't think I got anything groundbreaking this time, but I mean, I've been doing good. I've got a few other videos that I've put out that have had a little bit of success, a lot more commentation than I usually get, and I'm starting to get more regular. So it's really starting to turn up for the channel. As far as today, I've got another thing I'm just going to kind of pick your brain on. What are your thoughts? And I'll kind of spitball. I can spitball my idea first, or I can get your thoughts first. But over where the all blue will end up being.
I can shoot first, and then you can, if you want to share what you're thinking. So I'll be quick. I think that the all blue is. Do you believe in the destruction of the red line?
Oh, we are gonna have the same theory, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm big on the destruction of the red line. Also, first, let me just say it's good to hear that you've got some regulars and everything on your channel as well now, because I know that always felt really good when you started seeing the same people coming back and you're realizing that your content appeals to like a certain group of people. It just feels good that you can always go back and know that there's always going to be like this growing group of people that's going to be your base. So that's awesome, man. Good to hear.
And they're excited to chat, which I mean, because I've been doing a few live streams in like early stages of creating the content. You get a live stream and no one's talking. Like you'll see like some viewers come in and you'll ask a question and get no response. You're like, okay, next topic.
Yeah. No, I mean it's just gonna keep growing. So good for you, man. You're like especially I'm seeing you're almost at 10K. So if you guys want to help get him to 10K, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. But once you hit 10K and go up, like it just gets easier from 10K onwards, in my opinion.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So as for the all blue destruction of the red line, I believe that the One Piece is related to that. For a long time, I thought that the One Piece was the destruction of the red line, but now I actually don't think. I think it's something more than that. For a long time, that was my opinion, though. And I felt like because back in Baratier, Luffy and Sanji really connected on dreams and the idea of dreams, and it felt like it could be really poetically fitting that at the end of the day, it turns out that they're both chasing the same dream in a sense, that Luffy's going to create the One Piece, which simultaneously ends up creating the All Blue. So that's the hope initially, but now I just don't know. Now I feel like it could be something totally different, because we're getting so much more information about the One Piece world being under the sea. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I love that. I really like the parallel you just drew between Luffy and and Sanji. I think early setup is huge for One Piece. It's only supposed to be 5 years. And I think you're the one that kind of introduced this to me through your channel. Where 5 years. So when you look at the early arcs, it really kind of paints a picture of what the ending or where the story should be going. So when you start seeing early things like Luffy and Sanji having like similar goals and a similar mindset, I really like that, where it could just draw back to being the same thing. The One Piece equals the All Blue. And I'll kind of tie in a little bit. In pirate crews, they tend to go after treasure, and X usually marks a spot. So with the red line, when it's wrapped all the way around, you got Reverse Mountain. Reverse Mountains from all 4 seas, and it kind of draws an X there. So that theory would be that when the red line is destroyed, all 4 of those seas kind of come together, and it would create the All Blue.
Yeah, like a big red X at the center of the map.
Absolutely, and it's just like, it's kind of just saying it, and it's right by Logetown where Roger could just say, there it is.
Yeah,
right there. Yeah. And then the One Piece, as far as like Devil Fruits not being able to get there, you could, and that's a whole other thing to unpack, and we won't get there in 7 minutes, but as far as Devil Fruits not being able to get there as a theory, kind of maybe being like, so at the end of the Grand Line, you're going to run into Reverse Mountain, and then you potentially have to go underwater, kind of like Fishman Island.
Yeah.
And maybe you have to go under that X, and the One Piece would be there, and then that would be the fight for the last.
Do you think the final battle is going to be under, like literally underwater? Or do you think that the structure will be destroyed first, and then they're fighting in that sort of region?
I think it'll be a team versus team. So whether it be Shanks or Blackbeard or just, it'll be the last battle for the One Piece. Once the One Piece has happened, I think that's when that final battle will actually take place.
Okay.
I think it happens after the One Piece is found.
I always used to believe that too. Now I just don't know, because now things are kind of like, it's just gotten messier after Vegapunk's speech, because now I'm like, fuck, is everyone gonna be going after the One Piece? Is the final war gonna be over the One Piece? But then I go back to what Whitebeard implied, which was that the final war will be after they find the One Piece. So I just think it's cool that even at this point in the game, Oda's still making it a little difficult to say. But it sounds like you're on the side that the war will be after the One Piece. Is that right?
100%. I really like what you're saying. Like, I get that, because after the war was the One Piece. It's kind of like a catch-22. Like, after the war, the Void Century doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they've won. But equally, after you get the One Piece, then that's why I guess I'm leaning on the One Piece has to happen first. You have to find out why everything's so awful before you can go fight that final battle.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're on the same page about this then, which is that on Laugh Tale itself is not the One Piece. It's just some sort of poneglyph or some explanation of One Piece is, right?
100% agree. Okay. I think, 100% agree.
Okay, because I feel like it was so long back in the story that everybody was just like, yeah, we got to get to Laugh Tale to get to One Piece, but now it's just turned into, okay, Laugh Tale's the point where there's just gonna be a big ass, there's gonna be a big ass poneglyph or something there, and then that's
right.
From
it's
there
gonna tell a story, and then you can find the One Piece after that,
and
you
then
can like start putting your puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, man. No, so I think on the same train as that, I still just don't know really now what the actual. Like, I think that there's gonna be something more than the destruction of the Red Line, so I really don't know what that next final piece, if it's gonna be. But like the All Blue, it sounds like we're on the same page about that. Do you have anything for the people about Elbaf or some other other thought you want to get off about direction of the story for your?
This is kind of in the comments before I got on here. Someone talking about like a main character getting tricked. I am thinking about making a video, and I haven't really, so I don't have a whole lot of support for this. Just a thought. Maybe you can spur some inspiration here. But Loki notoriously is a trickster, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like Luffy is like one of the best judges of character. Like when he thinks something or when he does something, it's usually right. And people put it to luck, but it's just almost like it's just intuition. Yeah. So can his intuition overcome Loki's trickster?
It depends, because like Loki's baiting him with the Shank stuff, and so Luffy probably knows that it's a trick, but like he knows that Loki's got nefarious intentions. But I think Luffy also doesn't give a shit, because he's like, well, if I free this guy, I'll just kick his ass if I need to anyway. So it's just the way it is. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to Luffy if it's trick. So it's funny. Can I ask one more thing? Which is just that like, do you have a particular video that you would like me to maybe drop in the chat or direct people to? That's like some sort of a particularly good video that you want to push people to, or should you just like whatever's the next video coming up on your channel? You think that's all good?
Yeah, the video I just it's not the last video I did, but I did a whole video over
Emu the God of Time? Okay, because I was seeing that thumbnail. I was like,
good.
that's an interesting video topic. I wonder if people would be interested in that. So I'm just going to drop that for you all in the chat in case you want to check out this theory. It seems like a cool topic. It's Emu as Aeon, exploring the symbolism of time in One Piece. So I'm going to drop that for you all in chat here. And, yeah, man. Any last thoughts you want to get off before we call an end to your segment?
No, I want to thank you again. I appreciate you having me. As always, it's been great. I love having these discussions. It really helps me kind of brainstorm. And yeah, I just appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone that's watching. And I'll go ahead and cheers us out. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. Again, big props to you for being the first person to come on one of these. And yeah, always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
Yep.
Have a nice day. Peace.
Yeah, you as well.
Talk to you later. All right, everybody. Yeah, if you want to go check out his channel, check out some of the, check out that theory. It's pinned at the top. And yeah, first person to ever have the balls to come on and do one of these. So can't really say enough about that. All right, everybody. It looks like the likes are at 100, which means that we are gonna do the reaction. We're gonna be doing the reaction now. And I will add that many of you may have seen in the background of his videos some beautiful travel posters, and he referenced some ones that are coming up. In case you were curious as to what those were, we got Elbaf right there in the back, and let's take a look here. We've got as well Skypiea, Elbaf, Zoe, Elbaf Day version, and if you want to get all three, then you also get Chandra thrown in for free, and basically get 50% off all 4 posters if you are so interested. So yeah, Elbaf, Skypiea, Zoe. Elbaf I think is fucking beautiful. No bias whatsoever. It's just a fucking beautiful work of art. No way around that. And Skypiea is just phenomenal. Skypiea is my favorite out of the trio. And what's funny is that we talked with the artist a lot about like this batch of posters, and Elbaf was great right off the bat. Elbaf was phenomenal right off the bat. Zoe, he had a couple concepts. This one was really good. Skypiea, we went through like 6 different concepts to get to this one, and he was having a lot of trouble with Skypiea, and he scrapped because we were just like, this is He was like, this is We scrapped like several different concepts, and then finally he was just like, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna start from like square one, go back to scratch. Just ignore everything from before. Totally fresh mind. He just went back to his workshop or whatever for 2 days. And then he came back and he's like, what do you guys think of this? And then he drops this shit on us. And we're like, what the fuck? And it's just a drastically different concept than anything he did before. And it's fucking beautiful. So anyway, if you want him individually, you can get him individually. You no longer have to do the whole bundle. There is a bundle that you can get where you will get 50% off all 4 posters because you get Chandra included as well. Golden City of Chandra. And yeah, just I'm gonna drop the link for this as well before we get into the the main stuff. All right, everybody. Let me respond some supers, and we're gonna be doing the reaction. Mavahid Sadeghi, thanks for the 2. Google it, Morj. What was your physics grade? F? Oh, Mavahid, you're actually highly mistaken because I never got a physics grade because I never took physics. Yeah, I literally never took physics. I didn't have to. In my high school, I was trying to, let's see. After I took chemistry, so I took chemistry, and I took biology, chemistry, and then junior year I took bio AP, and just based on the list of like you have like requirements or whatever to pass or whatever. Like in the same tier was like physics, bio AP, physics AP, stuff like that, whatever. So like by picking bio, I was able to, like bio AP, I was able to skip the whole physics route. So junior year, no physics. Senior year, no physics. All right? I avoided physics of any kind. All right? I would not be you overestimate me when you seem to believe that I got a grade whatsoever in physics. I did not get an F. I did not get anything at all. There was no grade. There's no physics grade. Um. Continuing on. Okay, Basim El Mudawi, I think I already caught this. Hey, taking a break from studying for my job. Yeah. They feel like an extended previous episode recap. Nice beard. Interesting. Okay, so they go by that fast then. I've seen some people argue that it's too fast. So I'm curious. Because how do I explain this? No, let's we just gotta sit down and watch. We gotta sit down and watch. Because too fast is also a thing, right? When I complain about the pacing in One Piece being too slow, it's entirely because the bits that are not inherent, like when One Piece takes a long time, like it takes its time doing a significant, impactful scene, that's usually good. You notice that I didn't, like during the Garp Aokiji, those scenes, I didn't complain about pacing. In fact, I praised a lot of how they were able to make those scenes feel more interesting actually by drawing them out, because they didn't just have like random reaction shots the entire time or whatever. They did some artsy stuff with it, right? So with impactful shit, it works. The pacing is too slow when there's not actually interesting content, but the episode needs to be a certain length, and so it's fucking dragged out to shit, right? So let's see. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 2. Don't forget about the shave stream. Oh, shit. Shave stream. Yeah, okay. So I think one of these streams we'll do, there's a thing called Super Chat goals now. We'll probably do something like, I'll set a goal at the beginning of the stream. If we hit it, then I will shave my mustache off using Manscaped live on stream. I won't do the full beard because I prefer doing, I want to be in front of the mirror and like actually have like a sink and stuff like that if I'm doing a full beard. But just the mustache, that's easy. I can do that. Fake Linscuff, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 9 months. Have you watched Grand Line video about Elbaf wasn't supposed to happen? It backs up one of your theories. Now that you finished FP, Fire Punch, time to go watch Summertime Rendering and Kaiji both peak. Also Sakamoto fights are peak. You know what I'm actually watching or reading right now? So I finished Fire Punch. I actually just dipped into finishing out reading Fire Force. Because I found out, I was just Googling random stuff, and I found out the Fire Force anime won't come out for a long time. I'm not a huge Fire Force anime fan, but it was kind of fun, and I had some questions about the lore mysteries. And so I kind of wanted like a very light, easy read that I could breeze through. So because the Fire Punch anime has been coming back for a long time, I was just like, fuck it, man, let me just skim through, because there's not that much of the manga left, and the chapters are really light. So I just started reading through Fire Punch last night, and I got pretty far. So I'm actually going to probably finish Fire Punch out maybe by tomorrow. And then I will get to, I think, Sakamoto Days or Dandadan will be one of my next 2. Maybe Summertime Rendering or something if I'm trying to pick up an anime. Maybe Kaiji. Vagabond is a big one, but I know I got to tackle that soon, and Kingdom. But I'll check out the Grand Line video maybe when I get a chance. Zaid Kadoom, thanks a lot. The beard suits you well, Morj. Thanks for your first super ever. Interesting that was the first thing that you ever wanted to super me for, to encourage me to keep the beard. All right, I'll keep that. I'll keep that in mind, perhaps, just because that was your first super ever. I'll just say I tend to prefer just being clean shaven because it just feels better physically for me. Kiara, thank you for the 10. What if we are wrong and Luffy isn't actually the sun god? Or might be in a different way, and Loki is actually the sun god. Is that possible? I think because the concept of the Nika fruit and what the sun god is so it's not based in reality. It's based in people's beliefs, and there's like a blurring between the line of like what is reality versus what just becomes true through people's beliefs. There could be an alternate vision of what a sun god could be that is believed in by other people, right? Like there could be a different version of sun god that different people believed in that is the opposite of Nika, and that might be Loki's fruit, you know? All right, everybody. I think we're caught up on supers there. I'm going to pull up the other thing. The other thing being the Fishman Island, you know, shit. All right. Used to be Men97 says, is bro reacting or just yapping? So far, I was just yapping, but I had to catch up on these supers. So let's get to the shit that we're supposed to get to. All right. How do I find this? I don't actually fucking know. What do I type in? One Piece episode, One Piece remake, remastered, episode 1. Where do I find this? Watch. Is it remake or remastered? I feel like it's a remaster, right? It's not really a remake. This could be kind of bad. I don't even know where the fuck to watch this. I guess I could watch it on Crunchyroll, but then you guys won't be able to watch it, right? Watch One Piece Remastered Episode 1 Fishman Island free online. This is bad. I don't know where the fuck. Normally it's easy to watch. Alright, it's on Crunchyroll. Yeah, but if I watch it on Crunchyroll, you guys won't be able to watch it, right? Because it doesn't show up for you guys, if I'm right. Here. Let me try and do some looks. One Piece log Fishman Island watch online free. Okay. It's on fucking Crunchyroll. Let me try and pull it up. Let me see if you guys can watch it. Normally I have to find some jank ass site to watch it, but this time I don't even know what jank ass site I would watch it on. JWP, thanks for the 5. Pacing is its own thing, but I feel like the color of everything in the remake is like kind of depressing. Not sure how to explain it. Maybe I'm tripping. How do I find not Crunchyroll? How do I find it illegally? That's the goal. Oh, here we go. Akash Panda with coming in clutch. Thank you so much, man. All right. H anime. Oh my god. You are the fucking best, man. Holy shit. Thank you. All right, everybody, big shouts in the chat for Akash Panda, who normally hard carries a lot of the streams, but this time we actually may not have had a stream straight up without his help. All right, thank you very much, Akash Panda. Can't you just go to 9 Anime? I literally, when I tell you that when I find these the fake sites, the legal sites to watch this stuff on for you guys, the name of it goes, I don't even process it. I just click the link, don't even process the name, don't remember the name. All right, here we go. Ready? All right. We're doing this version, display with Facecam 2. Let's see. Normally I do some shit to change it. We can keep the opacity the same. We can keep the opacity okay. All right. I think we should be okay. I'm going to turn off desktop audio though, but we can keep the opacity the same. We'll find out what happens. All right. Here we go. All right, everybody. We're in it. Why is it starting at 140? What about earlier? Okay, I don't know what's going on. All right. Gosh, Panda says turn off skip intro. There's no such setting. Either way, the intro, it's whatever. We don't need it, right? We already got the intro. It's just the music, right? It's just the song, the opening. Here's the bigger thing. That did feel fast. All right, everybody. We might be headed for a dark time. We might be headed for me having to do something unprecedented. I'm a little worried, but I'll do it if necessary. All right? I might have to apologize to the original anime of One Piece if the pacing keeps up like this. Because say what you will about the old anime, certain things are supposed to be slower, or certain things do work slower. The Straw Hats just had, if I was watching the anime, right? Let's say I finished out Marineford and all of that shit, right? I finished out Marineford, and then I'm transitioning over to post Marineford, or like no post time skip, right? And I'm picking up this fucking remake, right? The Straw Hats just, we spent what, 4 or 5 episodes. We spent a whole bunch of episodes closing out the post time skip, all the emotion, etc., all the build up, right? When you jump back into it after 2 years, you want there to feel like there's some weight to it, weight to what's happening, right? Because when Luffy put down the hat the first time, that was like a fucking 10-minute fucking setup that led to him putting down the hat, like 10-minute scene or something. Him picking up the hat in like 1 second, it will feel jarring. I worry that this new anime had the mentality that everything needs to be as fast as like fucking 1,000-Year Blood War or something like that, right? That's not correct. Okay? If I watch something like Demon Slayer, that's like a good pacing. And Demon Slayer will take its time. Like, it's okay to have scenes of just like Tanjiro walking through the snow for like, 10, 20. Like, you can linger on that for some time. It's atmospheric. It immerses you, right? You don't just want everything to be fast. Like, everything, like, it's okay to be fucking slow at moments in time. I had hoped that with this anime, their simple goal would just be trying to get it back to like pre-time skip pacing, right? You still want it to feel like a coherent connecting counterpart. Like it should be a contiguous experience, right? Going from pre-time skip into this, right? I thought the idea is just that post-time skip the pacing became so bad that it just became unwatchable for many people. You don't want it to become something that like you're watching pre-time skip, you're in the flow of it, you're very immersed in the style of One Piece, the pacing that it goes at, and it is slow at points, very slow, but it's still watchable. And then you don't just want to like switch over to post time skip where everything's like on fucking fast forward, right? It should just try to get it back to pre-time skip levels of pacing, right? It doesn't need to be fucking 4 chapters an episode or something like that, right? It can just be. I'm curious as to how much they get through here. Let's see. No, this is just strange. Like this would be strange by the standards of like any other anime, right? These are establishing shots that they're flying through. Rest of the scene was okay. Akash Bandit, thanks for the five. Doesn't seem to be good direction behind the episodes. Cuts are random. Concerned at the lack of care put in the episodes. Not for first time watchers. Well, it's not for fucking second time watchers either. Who's it for? Okay, again, so where I'm at is just hold on. Hmm. Yeah, it's just bizarre. Like even something like this. So hold on. So this is just bizarre. Like they're actually cutting like this is really simple. Like okay, context, right? We have not seen the Straw Hats. Like the Straw Hats have been gone from the world for 2 years, right? Like and a lot of episodes prior to this were spent building up to this time skip, right? It's supposed to be momentous. It's supposed to be huge. Like a lot of time was spent building up to it. Like a lot of like the Straw Hats talking about like how we're gonna have to take a break for 2 years and then come back, right? Like it's supposed to feel like a huge divide, right? And their return is supposed to feel impactful and weighty, right? Something as simple as like there's just no establishing shots, right? It's literally just cutting into like even something as small as just like seeing Sanji's face, right, for the first time. It's not even like this is the first time that you're actually seeing his design change straight up, right? Like, but in the this is not correct. This is not correct. This is the first time seeing his design change. It shouldn't be with this gag shot. Like this is a spot where the anime could serve to show like a shot of just like, you know, a couple footsteps first, then a shot of Sanji's face, then you can do this gag. This is just like if you are am I correct me if I'm wrong because I might be missing something and sometimes I rant with having missed something, but if you are an anime viewer and you're catching up using this route, right? Then would this be the first time that you're seeing Sanji's new face? Is it with this? Is this the first time that you're seeing Sanji's new design? Ayo says, in my opinion, the pacing of Return to Subodhi is pretty good. It's Fishman Island on and when shit gets bad. Yeah, I think we'll have to judge it more when it gets to the really bad parts of it. The thing with Return to Subodhi is that is a section of the story that a slow pace actually really works. And it honestly kind of, like, because what's happened in the narrative is so momentous, you kind of want to sink in and breathe in. Like, it should feel like 2 years have passed, you know? Like, everything that's happening should feel a little bit like, wow, let's soak it in. You could argue that this was a section of the manga that actually flew by too fast, right? Because I would argue that some characters like Frankie, like I think some characters' introductions are a bit too casual here. I don't want to skim through the entire thing. Let's keep going. I like the rest of that scene though. So it's tricky. It's not black and white. It's not black and white. It's tricky. And I would have to compare it to what the original anime episode looked like because I feel like one of the things that gets hurt the most with slow pacing is gags and jokes because they get dragged on too long. I think that was funny to me. That little comedy scene was funny to me. So I would have to compare. I imagine that might have played out worse and been more dragged out in the original anime. So it's actually very difficult. I would say this. I think right now, what I'm personally noticing is that I feel like when they're setting a scene, right, that is where this is weakest. I wonder if the people in charge of this didn't really appreciate the importance of it. But like when the scene is being established, it's kind of just getting into the action, right, which is not you kind of want to. I usually appreciate the One Piece anime for usually taking some time to add a bit of weight to how it's establishing a scene. But the scenes themselves, like I thought the Brook scene, the way it played out was fine. I think the Sanji scene, the way it played out was funny. So let's see this. I gotta watch the original scene of this. This is actually fine pacing. I don't think they should be playing music right now. Sometimes when you're playing, like, the pacing, the way, how long they're spending for each bit of dialogue in each shot is good, but it would actually be a bit more of a dense, tense, dramatic scene if they didn't play the casual music throughout this whole thing. So I'm curious if they did that in the original as well. Oh, see, so like now they cut the music. Yeah, they just shouldn't have had music during that whole exchange. I want to go back to the original and see if they did that as well, because that's just a bad choice. I think I was too negative about this initially. I see the vision. I see the vision. It's small things that I'm not enjoying. Let's keep going. Fake Lynn, thanks to the 5. Hey you, consider short written updates. Every thoughts on what you're reading every couple chapters, especially after hype moments. Connect with your members between streams. Have you considered short written updates? Thoughts on what you're reading every couple chapters, especially after hype moments. Connect with your members between streams. Like on which series? On which series? Short thoughts on what I'm reading every couple chapters, especially after hype moments. Are you saying like for Vagabond or something like that? Or are you saying in general? You don't have to super again. Just comment and I'll try and catch it, or somebody else will call it out. Okay. Hold on. Sanji is fucking ungrateful to these dudes, by the way. He's ungrateful to them. They do quite a lot for him after he beat after he beat his ass. Like they do a lot for Sanji and he doesn't give a shit. Oh, never mind. He says thank you. All right, that's fair. But I mean, thank you for just like putting a year of his life on the line to protect him. I don't know. I feel like Sanji's mistreated these guys in the past. Uh. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's just the same thing I'm talking about. They just, it's too. Okay, so the thing that's grating me the most right now is the fucking music doesn't stop. Why does the music not stop? Because you kind of played this type of music. I don't know if you guys can hear it. You guys can. I muted desktop audio, right? But you kind of played this type of music for scenes where things are kind of just supposed to be a little bouncy and just moving along. This music has been playing from this scene straight into Chopper's scene, right? Indicating that there was no sort of like little pause, breather, like setup, like for just like, oh, we're getting to see Chopper again. You know, it's just jumping into it, and it's getting grating. I will say this: that visually it does look and feel like a remade One Piece. I thought that it wouldn't feel visually that different. Um, just because I was kind of like, oh, they'll just polish it up a little bit. But it feels like I'm seeing a new version of One Piece out here. JP thinks the second episode was a lot better paced and edited than the first, in my opinion. Okay, so maybe this, because this is the one where we're getting all the characters introduced again. Oh, Fakelin says whatever you're reading slash watching. I could do that. I could do that, and that's like a fun thing. It's just that I'm not always into stuff at the moment. Like, there's times that I'm not, like, it took a long time for me to get to back to reading Fire Punch again. So I don't want to make it a scheduled thing. Like, oh, I talk to members about what I'm watching slash reading, because then it turns into a chore. But I could keep giving updates or whatever, and then do like little mini segments on streams. That's a good idea. I'll see about that. I do personally prefer the visual look. I know I saw some people saying that it looks too dark or drab. This still feels more modern to me. Maybe they could have stuck with that color palette and made, or I mean, it is the same color palette, but maybe they went too far in a certain direction. But it's not like I love the new look, but it does feel more. It feels more polished and updated to me. I will say I felt like Saboti, Fishman Island, just like that art style. It it just felt very crude and like just low quality in my opinion. It's just really fucking bad at starting scenes. It's really bad at starting scenes. I don't think the pacing within scenes is. I think the pacing within scenes is fine. I think it's just really bad at starting scenes. Like it's really small, simple stuff, right? Because like this scene starts with a gunshot, and then as soon as the gunshot starts, then the music kicks in. It's like gunshot and then music. This is something you just see in like every fucking like movies, TV, anime, whatever. Like if you're starting a scene with like a not off-screen gunshot, you can let that breathe for a second because the idea is like, oh shit, a gunshot, something bad happened. But this is like gunshot, immediate music, like, and then it's starting with like what's happening here, right? That scene wasn't good. It, it can be slow at points. It's cool to see Luffy fucking walking up. I don't think that they recognize when it's cool for things to be slower and when it's like the parts that can be sped up a little bit, you know? I get that in the manga, it's just a very casual sort of like Luffy just bumps in on accident. But then in that case, like either make the whole scene like that, right? Like don't have the really dramatic music playing the whole time. Like you could have the really dramatic, or you could have the really dramatic music playing the whole time. Don't show Luffy walking up, and then just have him cut off by Luffy by like an unknown character accidentally knocking him to the side as he walks by, and then we kind of realize it's Luffy right afterwards, right? Like you can do it like that. You can play it kind of like in a comedy way, like very dramatic music and then comedic cut with like him getting knocked over or something like that. Or don't make it that dramatic, right? And then in that case, it's okay to have Luffy, you know, walk up and kind of do it the way that you did before. But doing it this style with like trying to go for the really dramatic music, but then also having Luffy walk up and bump be like kind of in the middle of like a really long slow build up, but not really, kind of just a walk up and knock over. Like they didn't go for anything, if that makes sense. They didn't go for any. There just doesn't feel like there was any thought as to why they cut it the way that they did, other than they wanted the same thing but shorter. You can't just do the same thing but shorter. You need to make some choices as to why you're doing what you're doing. Who is this voice actor? This voice actor sounds weirdly familiar. Who is this voice actor? I think they're doing the focus, unfocus a bit too much. But I thought that was mostly fine. That scene was kind of good. I mean, now it's beating a dead horse, but the Robin introduction. Just make it feel like 2 years. Make it feel like 2 years. I just have to go back and watch the original episodes. Because, like, I feel like this episode has a lot of music playing throughout it. And again, the music is meant to make it feel like when you cut music, that's when things are meant to feel like they're slowed down, right? And the dialogue is. You're supposed to sink into the dialogue a little bit, right? Unless you have a dramatic scene, then, like, some dramatic music. But, like, this is, like, the elevator sort of filler music. You know what I mean? I want to go back to the original ones. Did they have as much music playing throughout as this? Like, it just feels like things are supposed to go a little bit faster with the way that the music is kind of playing things along. No, she doesn't. So that's a scene that I cannot imagine being any longer. Like I that's a scene where like no matter how I'm not gonna go back and watch the original episodes, but I'm just like that's a scene that definitely does not need to be longer than it was. So, I'm not gonna say that this remake's doing things perfectly, but I'm looking at that scene. I'm just like I'm fucking falling asleep watching that scene. I'm like, oh fuck. So then if I was watching the original version, would I already be asleep? I don't know. It's so funny seeing Sentamaru back here now because it's just now knowing the Sentamaru Strahd dynamic, how that went. It's just funny. It's just funny. I don't. How do we scale Sentamaru? How do we scale Sentamaru? I feel like he almost never comes up in these discussions, but he didn't like immediately lose to Kizaru. Sentamaru, like, is he almost Yonko Commander? Would he be in a Yonko Commander type tier? Could Sentamaru beat Luffy here? I feel like without Gear 4th, Luffy loses to Sentamaru here. I feel like without, that's all I'll say. I'll say without Gear 4th, I'm pretty sure Luffy loses to Sentamaru here. But Luffy has Gear 4th, so whatever. Man, it's so crazy now knowing Kuma, like Sentamaru's fucking relationship with Kuma, and he's walking around with all these pacifistas and stuff. Monkey 556's cross guild bounty is 500 million. Okay. Again, establishing shots can be just a little bit longer. No. No. The scene was going good, but then this moment, you need more for Sanji's reaction. Sanji just thinks that Sanji thinks that Zoro's all the way fucking left and is going all the way to fucking Fishman Island right now. Like, take a moment for that. That's a huge deal. That's not like that's funny. That's funny. You can let that sink in for a second, like. Neptunian. That scene is still just fucking funny. That, like, because if you imagine what played out downstairs, like, on the boat, was literally just like, Zoro gets on a boat of random people. They're all just traveling underwater. God knows how much time and effort they spent to get here, right? Like, all the way at the end of the Grand Line, coding the ship, right? All of that stuff. They're traveling down, and then Zoro wakes up, and then is just like, oh, this is the wrong boat. Rather than like take any sort of personal responsibility for it, Zoro decides, I'm just gonna I want to go back up. I'm just gonna cut this giant ship in half, screw over everybody else here, and then I'll be back where I need to be, basically. That's actually really so disrespectfully, callously selfish. It's hilarious. Just like, he got off the wrong boat. But he decides to screw everybody else over because he's just like, well, this is inconvenient for me. It's fucking funny as fuck. All right. Anyway, Zoro calling himself a plague is so fucking funny. Zoro's such a gaslighter. Zoro definitely came back to from the pre-time skip to the post-time skip with an attitude, like a significant attitude change. He started talking more like Mihawk, that's for sure. All right, Rafty Goat says One Piece deserve more respect. They're the closest to the manga pacing. I'm interested. Maybe we should try watching a One Piece episode and compare all three. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Okay. I would watch the second episode. My plan was to watch 2 episodes, but I frankly... Should I watch the second episode of this? I don't know. Like... My opinion on it is, I actually am almost compelled to want to do a video. Like, do a video comparing the OG, this, and One Piece. Because it's not like this is... It's a complicated... It's not black and white. I was hoping that this would just be the strictly better version of it. I think that if I'm rewatching One Piece, if I felt compelled to rewatch One Piece, I would watch this rather than the OG, right? At least from Fishman Island pacing onwards. If I was telling somebody to catch up and they've finished Marineford, etc., I don't know. Because I would have to get a reminder of how bad the anime was in Fishman Island versus how this is in Fishman Island. I think here's the biggest thing, right? I think with this thing, this thing is actually this remaster. I like it visually better. I'll say that. I think they go a little bit too hard. They've done some stuff to try and to spice it up a little bit. Like they even added a little bit of animation in places to connect some shots, or at least like just a little connecting animation or something like that. They go a bit too hard on the focus out of focus, right? So that's my take on just the basic superficial stuff, right? It just looks better. Feels better to me, right? If you were attached to the Fishman Island look, that's maybe your own preference, but that's not my preference personally. Okay, looks a little feels better to me, okay? More polished. However, I think what this thing fails to understand is that... Not fails to understand. That sounds like very... like maybe they just didn't have time, right? I'm sure that these professionals in the industry or whatever, maybe they just didn't have time. I think what it fails to properly convey are moments that do need a bit more time and weight. And this episode in particular is the anime of One Piece after having just come back from the One Piece anime. It's the 2-year time skip, right? So there should be a lot of weight attached to each of these characters' introductions. It seemed to treat everything with sort of the same level of pace to some degree, where it's or it doesn't recognize the moment. I think it doesn't recognize as much the moments where it's okay. The moments where it's okay to be slow. Because there's a lot more moments that are okay to slow down here, and like actually the original anime did fine in letting, Luffy's walk up to Demon Black, carry some, take up some screen time. It's okay to take some time doing that because it adds to the gravity of what's about to happen next, which is, oh shit, we're gonna get to see Luffy kind of not do much, but flex his shoulders a little bit as a post-time skip trained up character, It's the first little glimpse, because it's not getting into viewers' heads as much, right? You want to get into the viewer's mind, like, what's the viewer feeling right now? The viewer should be feeling really, really excited, on the edge of their seat, wanting to just see a glimpse of what these Straw Hats can do. So treat those scenes like that, Treat it like, oh shit, what's Luffy gonna do, right? So, yeah, just Luffy putting on the hat, Sanji's introduction. Like, I don't think it even recognized that Sanji's first shot for an anime viewer post-time skip was something that was very, like, it was a gag shot instead of at least the manga took a little bit more time with it. JWP says you should watch the second episode to get a better understanding. My guess is that the second episode, I think it'll be better as it goes along, because it's really the initial scenes of Return to Sabaody, right, that are very important and impactful, right? As things go on and we descend to Fishman Island and most of Fishman Island, there's very little that needs, like, extended screen time. Like, the pacing that it had here was fine for most of that, I personally feel like there's some scenes that it's tricky because a lot of scenes I think are, like, almost just right, except for, like, a few little small bits. Like Zoro cutting the ship, I like that scene. I thought it was funny. I thought it didn't overstay its welcome. Thought it was well done. It could have maybe taken a little bit more time. I did identify, like, 2 clear points there where I felt like it's not, like, the establishing of the scene should have taken a slightly bit longer to establish the scene, and 2, Sanji's reaction, where they just showed his reaction face really quickly, that's a misstep because you want to make the reaction big because that's what plays into the joke of this whole scene, right? What Zoro just did is a huge fucking faux pas. Like, it's not a faux pas, it's a huge fucking fuck up, right? He just fucking threw out, like, their carefully planned reunion at Sabaody. He threw it out the window because he's going to fucking Fishman Island early. He got fucking lost as fuck, right? And then that leads up to, it seems like he's just done something irreversible, so you want that to sink in. Like, Zoro's really fucked up. How are they ever going to fucking catch him now that he's on the way to Fishman Island? And then it makes the twist that Zoro actually just doesn't give a fuck, cut his way back up to the top to meet up with the crew. Like, he just screwed a whole bunch of random people over just so that he could fix his own fuck up. That makes that funnier, right? So it's small because the rest of the scene, I think, plays out at a good pace, honestly. It made me laugh. I just think that there's just a few moments and a few parts of the storytelling pace here that, like, you're losing the essence of what could make this scene better or what made the scene better. Yeah, but it's definitely better than the original anime, because the original anime would have made this episode, it would have done the moments better, but the overall flow would have been really bad. And then once you get to parts of the story that don't even really have impactful, important moments, like the first 10 chapters of Fishman Island, it's just a slog to get through, whereas this will move it along faster and get us to important plot points faster. So, I don't know. I think that the jury's out for me on this. I don't feel like watching another episode of this right now, but I will probably watch another episode at some point. Maybe I'll do, like, a little binge at some point. Okay, Akash Band is bringing up a good point. Okay. So, I totally forgot about this shit. Akash Band is bringing up, have you given your thoughts on the second 3-week break we're getting after one chapter? Okay. I need information from you all, because I've heard multiple things about this, okay? I woke up this morning or earlier in the day. I saw that was a thing going on, that there's another 2-week break coming or something like that. I saw that. And then I saw some people talking about, specifically Arthur, I saw him talking about how it might be a mistake because it only says that on the English version, like the English translation of the site, and the other versions of the site say that the chapter is still coming out at a regular time. is this yeah, Kosh, I think well, I appreciate you bringing that up because that is probably a topic that people want to talk about, like, like keeping it to a minimum, the amount of times that you're mentioning it, that would still be good. But it's all good, man. I do appreciate, because that is a big topic. I think we just didn't end up talking about that at the beginning. That's all we know. Yeah, so people don't know any additional information. I saw there were some things that people are pointing out, saying like on the Shonen Jump app, it still says that it's coming out next week. On other foreign versions, it's still saying it's coming out next week. It seems like it's just the English version that it says it's coming out. There's a 2-week break. So some people were saying that, like, I even saw somebody saying that it's possible that they just didn't reset the timer, the automatic timer, for after the 2-week break that we just had. I don't know, but I could see it. I could see that being the case. Let me ask first of all, yeah, I don't know if there's any additional information about this. Let me ask first of all, how do you like the remaster? Like it? Better than the OG? Dislike it? Dislike / meh? Dislike, but still better than OG. Dislike it. It's worse than OG. Meh overall. Both are bad. Okay, here are the options I got. Oh, whoops. How do I unpin? Alright. So most people, it seems like, yeah, it's not like an overwhelming love for it, but most people like it better than the OG. No, I mean, it looks like, yeah, I mean, it looks, yeah, like, a lot of people like it. I think where I'm at, if I had to pick an option here, I would say I would fall under the like it better than the OG. I think I need to give it some time, and I think where it will really shine is episodes that are, like, if I were to watch the first several episodes when we actually hit Fishman Island, and if it feels like everything's actually moving at a better, smoother pace, I think I would like it more there, you know? I think the real test of this... So here's the problem, because it's got an uphill climb, right? Because the arc to come is Fishman Island, which I think no matter how you spin it, it's not the most beloved arc. I think a lot of people appreciate Fishman Island in the manga more today on reread, but it's generally not an arc that most people are itching to go back to, itching to reread, right? I think the real test... So like, when people are watching this version of the anime, right? It could be a total improvement of the Fishman Island arc from the original anime, but it could still just be boring to watch for a lot of people, because a lot of people just didn't like Fishman Island's content itself may not be that interesting no matter how you slice it. It's got some great flashbacks, but then the fights are not good, and like a lot of the intermediate content that's going on, it's like, you know, Fishman Island is a really good arc for exposition, setup, establishing important aspects of the world, flashbacks, etc., but it's not good. It's not exciting in general. I think the arc that would be the real test of how good this remake is, the problem is it's still some way for it to get there, and that's why I'm saying it's an uphill climb, but Dressrosa. I think Dressrosa is an arc that many people... In the manga, it was not controversial, but it was a bit of a slog for people to get through weekly, but overall, I feel like Dressrosa is considered a good manga arc to many readers, right? I think Dressrosa is almost unanimously considered a very poorly done arc in the anime. This remake... So, like, Dressrosa is an arc that I think a lot of people feel has good potential content, but the issues were with pacing, and, in the manga as well, issues were with pacing, right? So this arc this remake, if it can get to Dressrosa, that's the arc that's going to be the real test in my opinion, because it's like, okay, here is a storyline that has good content. Its biggest issue is the pacing, and in the anime, it's not just the pacing, it's also just like visually it looked like shit, right? So this remake, its job is to fix pacing and visually give a touch up. If it can do those two things for Dressrosa and people can enjoy the experience, then this remake is a success in my opinion. But Fishman Island, I wonder if like we'll get to Fishman Island and it'll be it'll be generally improving Fishman Island from the OG anime, but people don't even recognize it because Fishman Island is not that fun to watch through again, even in a remastered version. Okay, let me catch up on supers here. Oh, it's just one. Am I just missing? Yeah. Angel, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, took your Hinge profile advice and now want to know your opinion on dating multiple people at a time. 1 to 3 girls. Nice mustache, bro. All right, everybody. Let's just acknowledge what that means, which is that I gave good advice, correct? I gave good advice. Led to him having a situation where he's trying to figure out how to date multiple people at a time. 1 to 3 girls. First of all, I don't know if you're to what degree you're joking or whatever, but do you mean messaging 1 to 3 girls at a time, or actually going on dates with 1 to 3 girls at a time? Because messaging, that's not an issue, right? If you're actually going out with a few different girls, or you've got a few different dates lined up, right? Then the biggest question you need to be asking yourself is like, what's your goal? Because if your goal is just like casual hookups or whatever, then you can do whatever you want. Not do whatever you want, you know what I mean? Like within reason, but like you can treat this however you want. You can juggle however you want. You can make clear that you're not. I think as long as you're not stringing anybody along and making it act like you're looking for a relationship, you do whatever. But if if you are actually looking for a relationship and you've got a few different girls lined up for dates, I personally feel, how do I say this? A lot will depend on. Okay, how do I say this? Dating, especially online dating, like, because you got to remember, you are competing with, you've got like 1 to 3 girls there, right? But you are competing with other guys who are in their DMs, who they're maybe like they probably also are dating other people, right? So what happens is, it will get expensive very, very fast. In my personal experience, if you've got a few first dates lined up over the course of the next week or two or something, that's great. If you've got a couple first dates lined up for the next couple weeks, that's great. But after you get through those first dates, I would personally strongly recommend, as long as you're looking for a relationship, knowing and identifying who out of these girls you would most likely to gel with, like who clicked with you the best right off or in general right off of that first date. And then continuing to move forward with her, okay? Just because dating is expensive, both in terms of like actual money and in time, right? One thing that naturally happens is that you are going to be like, as you start going on dates, right? You are going to get into a texting rhythm where most likely you're going to be texting each day, right? That is also hard to juggle with 2 different girls. It's hard to have like good, meaningful. Not meaningful, but you know what I mean? Like, keep up good banter, good, just good banter, good back and forth, etc. If you're having to talk to multiple girls at the same time, right? I strongly would recommend just, if you're going on a few first dates, that's great, but try and realize early on, is this going to be a thing for me going forward? Is this not going to be a thing for me going forward? And just try and focus on one, right? Again, unless your goal is just hooking up or whatever, in which case, do whatever you want. I will say that big mistake you can make on Hinge or whatever, especially with online dating, though, is that you have to remember that if the people that you're meeting and talking to are on Hinge, they are talking to other people at the same time, at least in early stages. So you do have to be good with keeping up with texting, communicating, etc. Because if you kind of go ghost for like a day or two or whatever, there are other guys that she's talking to that are keeping up her attention more, right? So again, those are just the dangers of being in a situation where you've got 1 to 3 girls, like you're saying, going on at the same time. Just keep, like, try and narrow in and focus, otherwise you will lose all your prospects, basically. So it's better to have one thing that ends up working out than feeling like you're getting to juggle multiple 3 things at the same time where none of them work out. Anyway. Don't go with the most fun. Look, wait, I just saw a good... Yeah, Oof says also don't just go with the most fun. Look out for red flags, and toxic fun does not last. It's true. Basim El Madawi, thanks for the 5. Blackbeard with 3 devil fruits is interests me. The ancient Egyptian god Apophis seems like a great clue for his 3rd devil fruit. Jormungandr, I don't know, man. I personally think that whatever it's going to be, I think that it'll be something that's a bit more known. I think it's going to be something that, or it's going to be a One Piece exclusive thing, you know? Like, I mean, Jormungandr is known. That's not to say it's not known, but I feel like it will be, I feel like ultimately it's supposed to be a contrast to Luffy's Sun God fruit, and I think it's supposed to be something that isn't like it shouldn't come out of the blue, you know what I mean? Like people are talking about Surtur and stuff like that. Well, I guess not for Blackbeard as much, but I think it shouldn't come out of the blue. I still feel like Nika was the thing that was being mentioned though multiple times, you know. So I feel like whatever Blackbeard's food will be, I think it'll be something that is planted in the story a few times before we actually get the reveal of what it'll be. You know, if that's happening, if he is getting a 3rd fruit. All right, y'all. I'm getting to the point where I am probably gonna want to eat dinner shortly, so I am going to call it here. Hitesh Kumar is saying, Morj, can you make Tower of God content? I don't follow that series, but I'm probably going to call it here. Yeah, I'm going to call it here. I think that this was a good stream, y'all. I enjoyed the remake. I don't know. I might watch another episode or so of it. But yeah, it's just like, I kind of got a reminder that even if this is like a more polished version of and shorter and faster paced, I wouldn't necessarily sit down and rewatch all of Fishman Island, you know, just because the content is not that edge of your seat interesting to me. I do think that there's pros and cons to this. I think that there's overall more pros. I think that I was hoping for a little bit better in terms of just a bit more care to how or selectiveness to where they chose to chop the pacing and where they chose to speed it up. But overall, I would say it's an improvement. All right, everybody. All right. Yeah, Nico was mentioned once as Akash Panda, but that's what I'm saying, which is that, like, I think that Blackbeard's fruit, whatever it is, I think it will be mentioned at least once in the story before we get it, you know? I think it won't be, I think it'll be something, and I think it'll be something One Piece specific rather than a real world mythological fruit, but I guess we gotta wait and see. All right, y'all. Thanks for